Wamsi, it's good to have you. We're grateful for your analysis this morning, which we referenced in the prior hour, putting some dollar signs ahead of various scenarios. Can you just talk about what's possible?
Yeah, thanks, Carl. Thanks for having me. So, look, I think that the most important things as it pertains to the development over the last week, one is what you just heard from Eunice, which is the release and launch of the Huawei Mate Pro and the regular version of the Mate 60. And Huawei has not had a flagship phone since 2019, so the Chinese consumers have not been able to buy anything other than Apple. Samsung has very little share in China, so really Apple gained about 15 to 20 million iPhones over that period of time, which is now subject to some sort of reversal. And if you think about a 3 or 4 year replacement cycle, you're talking about 5 million units of iPhones purely from a Huawei hit if that share were to reverse. Similarly, when you think about this ban in China, right, there's about somewhere between close to about 40 million employees or so, government employees that we think could be subject to this ban as it stands right now in very loose terms. Now, some of those have already been subject to restrictions around bringing iPhones at security departments and things like that, where it has been sensitive, and so you can sort of take them out of the picture. But when you look at the remaining 30 million or so, Apple has an overweight share in terms of high-end customers, and so at the end of the day, you can think about at least 5-10 million units from an annual perspective impact that can come from the ban. So it's going to take time because there is a replacement cycle cadence to this. So if we kind of sum up those two things, you've got about 10 million units potentially. Each million units is about a penny to EPS. So we're talking about the magnitude of about 10 cents or so, right? But the bigger question is really, does this pose other risks in China, right? Like China could essentially do something relative to manufacturing, relative to tariffs, relative to what even on the services side. We've been just talking on the product side, and they have full control over gaming approvals, for instance, and they can say, hey, we want to slow down the rate and pace of gaming approvals, which would suddenly impact the App Store and services as well. So the amount of influence that China can have on Apple's numbers is actually very stupendous, and we shouldn't be underestimating the potential impact or fallout from this.
So would you argue, is your neutral rating primarily about China exposure as opposed to something about valuation or something else that might go into the model?
Yeah, it's a good question. Look, I mean, China has always been a risk, and we've known it. Apple has navigated this superbly, right? Like, I mean, no other word to describe how they've managed this relationship in the face of a lot of other companies struggling. So they've largely been immune to this, and maybe there are chinks in the armor. Our neutral rating's not really so much predicated about the China risk per se. It's all been about estimate revisions. We've seen Apple's estimates really get cut over the last 3 quarters, and they've been just a cycle of negative estimate revisions given the weak iPhone 14, consumer spending issues. Tim Cook referenced on the last call about how there is a slowdown in the U.S. smartphone market and replacement cycles getting stretched out. So it's been more on a fundamental call where earnings have gone from $6.50 to $6, and that's been more the crux of where we thought that the risk was. Right. And given the China incremental pressure, I mean, yes, that adds another layer to estimate risk. We're quantifying that at about 10 cents. So in the face of $6, it's not really that big. Right. If everything else goes right, I mean, there could be more positive scenarios as well.
We'll see if next week can act as any ballast to this, Wamsi. I assume hopefully we'll talk around that time as well. Thanks for the help today. Wamsi Mohan.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.